Alright, so this is the demo for how to both roll and connect coils. So I've got a slab here that I've just kind of rolled out and flattened in the shape that I want to start with. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to add coils to this. Now the way I'm going to do that is I'm basically going to take my hunk of clay just like so, and I'm going to cut off kind of a small portion at first just because it rolls easier and better and faster if you start with smaller pieces. So once you're getting the kind of hang of it, it's best to start kind of small. Now this clay feels pretty stiff, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to have, during this process you're going to want to have some water handy, and I'm just going to dip it in the water to kind of get it a little bit softer, and I'm just kind of pushing the moisture in, squeezing it so it kind of gets some of that moisture out of there, almost like a sponge. Alright, so now that I've got it kind of a cylinder shape here, first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of roll it between my hands, and it's slippery, until it kind of forms a little bit more of a rounded shape versus kind of one that's got my fingerprints in it. So I'm going to start by doing that. I'm going to get this out of the way so you guys can see the kind of motions I'm doing here, and it's good to have for this process your table's going to get a little messy because you can't really do this on a canvas mat because the canvas mat will catch the clay and kind of roll up on the clay. So I'm just going to do it right on the bare table. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by rolling it with just this part of my hand right here. Don't use your fingers, don't use this part because you're going to make indentions in the clay. But looking at this, it's still a little wet, so I'm going to roll it a little bit more like this. And then I'm just going to keep rolling and applying even pressure with the palms of my hands. I'm just pressing a little bit harder now, still just using my palms, working my way from the center to the outside like this, and that's just spreading the clay. Now I'm going to focus on the areas that are thicker, like this part here. I'm just going to keep rolling it. Now the wetter the clay is for this process, the better it's going to be, but it's a tricky proposition because you need it to set up in between. Like if the clay is too wet and you coil too quickly, your piece can collapse. So we don't want that. So here we are, fairly well formed coil. And so before I attach it here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to rough the coil up, and I'm just going to use the end of one of these guys here to just kind of add some really light scoring to the coil. So it looks like this. And I'm going to score the area that I'm going to stick it to, just like this. Then, of course, I'm going to apply some slip. Just like so. And then I'm going to do the same thing to my coil. Just applying slip to the whole coil. And now I'm just going to push it into the spot around the edge here and just kind of wiggle it and press it into place here. And I'm just going to get it as close as I can to that edge that I've already made there. And then I'm going to use a tool to kind of smooth out that gap in there like that. And as we put these coils on top of each other, what we want to do is we want to make sure that there's no gaps between the coils, like air spaces, because that's going to create weak spots. So I'm just smoothing this out now. Then I'm going to do a similar thing here, but now what I'm going to do to the next coil is I'm going to score the end here, just like this. I'm going to score the remaining part of the base, and then I'm going to start scoring the top of the next coil because I want this to kind of coil on itself like a garden hose or a snake or a rope. So I'm just basically going to slip and score this to the end of the other coil. Now, if you don't slip and score between your coils are not going to stay together. They're just going to come apart. They may feel like they're together, but once the clay starts to dry out a bit, you are definitely going to run into issues. And as you guys can see, my desk is getting quite messy from this process. So you are going to need to clean your desk really well after you're done for each day. So you're just going to keep kind of coiling these things and building it up in layers. So I'm slipping and scoring it to the end here, and now I'm pressing it down. Now, as you kind of get to this other coil, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to press it down so it fills that gap. And then I'm going to continue to apply this coil to where I've slipped and scored. Now that I've gone to kind of the other end here, I'm going to continue to score just like so. And I'm going to keep going around. And so that would be the process. You continually move around, and you want to try and seal up. You can see there's a crack right here where the two coils join, so I'm going to make sure to smooth that. And when you put this away for the day, you'll need to try and get your bag down inside here. And what I would do is I would just put your initials right here at the bottom, because everyone's coil pots are going to look a little similar when they first start. So make sure you put your initials in there, and that'll make sure that your coil pot stays your coil pot and doesn't get snapped up by somebody else accidentally. All right, so if I were to keep coiling, I would just add to this one here and keep going around, and that's what that process looks like, okay? And if you start getting too high, that's when it would be like too wet and start to like wiggle. So you can set it up with the hair dryer and make sure that it's leather hard before you go up any higher, but you know, I can help you with that too. All right, so I'm just kind of smoothing it as we go. All right.